who's on your side.
In this video, I would like for us to focus in on rodent education and the importance of proper control and elimination measures. Rodents, like mice and rats, are more than just innocent food consumers. The adverse effects that rodents have on property and health can actually extend into the billions of dollars on an annual basis globally. In addition, the adverse health effects that rodents pose to humans is one of historical horrors. Now, while it may not be possible for everyone to become educated on the dangers of rodent infestations, having a company like 4 Seasons Pest Solutions on your side actually means you don't have to. In this video, we're going to explore rodents and their life cycle, reproduction, habits, threats, signs of infestation, control methods, and sanitation measures. And understanding these key facts can actually aid in the prevention and control of rodents. First, let's look at the house mouse. Measuring at between 2.5 and 3.5 inches in length with a 3 to 4 inch long semi-hairless tail, the house mouse is gray to brown in color and has relatively large ears. It's actually also one of the smallest native commensal rodents to Kentucky and surrounding states. Now, their lifespan is equally small at a projected 1 year. However, their ability to rapidly reproduce more than makes up for their short lives. Female mice become sexually mature at 6 to 10 weeks old and are then actually capable of mating and reproducing multiple times each year. Now, as often as nearly every month, the house mouse might conceive a new litter of 4 to 8 pups, with an average of 5 to 10 litters per year. Once conception occurs, the gestation period lasts roughly 19 to 21 days, and the fertilized egg then develops into an embryo and is implanted in the uterus. A completed gestation period usually results in the birth of 5 to 6 pups. They're born blind, deaf, and hairless. And these offspring will be completely dependent upon their mother for both food and warmth for roughly the next 4 weeks. Now, a strict diet of mother's milk is going to help the pups develop and is especially important for the development of their teeth. And by the 4th week, the mice will begin to explore their environment and eat other foods besides mother's milk. By the 8th week of their life, they'll actually be fully weaned, independent, and ready to venture out on their own. And they'll be at or near sexual maturity as well, fully capable of continuing the life cycle to the next generation. Now, with an average lifespan of 1 to 2 years, one female mouse could potentially yield between 150 to 300 offspring in her lifetime. Each female pup becomes available for reproduction at 6 to 10 weeks and then can also produce those 150 to 300 offspring in their lifetime. So in short, roughly every 10 weeks, a new prospective female breeder is possible. Now, with these numbers, you can only begin to imagine how the math would add up, and one pregnant mouse could turn into thousands of mice in a hurry. Such a rate of reproduction makes the house mouse a worthy adversary. House mice have habits much like those of other rodents, and the house mouse will live indoors or outdoors, often making their home among the dwellings of humans. Outside, shrubbery, weeds, rocks, stored items, and many other areas provide adequate refuge. But when these conditions exist near a structure, it doesn't take long for mice to move in for shelter, food, or water, or simply because of overcrowding. Once inside, wall voids, appliances, attics, crawl spaces, and other areas can quickly be made home to the house mouse. Now, the house mouse consumes a wide range of foods, from seeds and grains to foods with high fat and high protein content. Foods like nuts, bacon, butter, and sweets, and other foods are commonly consumed by humans, and they make a perfect diet for mice as well. Now, as many as 20 to 30 times per night, mice will scurry about, foraging as far as 25 feet away from their nest in search for food. And this means whether they're inside your home or outside your home, they're going to be active most of the night in search of food, water, or shelter. The Norway rat also referred to as the brown rat or sewer rat, is actually the largest native rat species in Kentucky. They weigh in at about 12 to 16 ounces and are stocky and reddish brown. They sport quite a small head compared to their body size, and their closely positioned ears and blunt muzzles and coarse fur and shorter tail actually set them apart from other rat species. Norways live for about a year to 2 years and reach sexual maturity at just 2 to 3 months of age. Females produce 4 to 6 litters of pups annually, with 6 to 12 pups in each litter. And it's been estimated that a single pair of breeding Norway rats could produce offspring numbering around 500 million in only 3 short years. Their distinctive thick waist, small ears, and small eyes, lighter color and shorter tail, and their preference of lower portions of a structure make the Norway rat easy to distinguish from a roof rat. Norway rats love to burrow alongside buildings, fences, rocky areas, around cozy vegetation, and other areas that provide the perfect outdoor harborage. Now, like an old man that's been set in his way for years, they prefer to keep the same routine, and they often leave a well-worn path wherever you find them. But once a Norway rat makes its way indoors, they're typically going to keep to the lower portion of a building and nest within areas like the crawl space, inside cabinets, inside wall voids, in subfloors and under and behind equipment, and other areas that you'll find on the first floor of a building. Norway rats love meats, vegetables, grains, discarded leftovers, and many other foods that you would typically find humans eating. Although they use a bit more caution than other commensal rodents, Norways love human food, and garbage often provides a great source of leftovers or scraps, and usually enough liquid for their daily water requirements. Now, although they will forage as closely to their harborage or nest as food sources will permit, they commonly move up to about 150 feet away from their nesting site, or potentially more if food sources are scarce. But because they are primarily nocturnal, their travel might actually go unseen, and the only evidences that you may find left behind would be their droppings and worn pathways, gnaw or chew marks, and potentially the grease stains that they leave as they travel alongside a wall or in and out of a hole or a gap or a crack or a crevice. In Kentucky, the presence of roof rats is actually very limited and rare. They weigh roughly 8 to 12 ounces, and they are sleeker than the Norway rat, thinner and longer. Their tail is longer and they're darker in color, and they have a more pointed muzzle and larger ears. But what sets them apart the most is that they prefer heights, and that makes them easy to spot. While other rodents may climb or scale trees and structures, the roof rat not only climbs and scales, but excels at climbing and scaling. So attics, roofs, sitting voids, treetops, vines, and other high areas are their preferred habitat. Now, occasionally they can be seen burrowing if food sources warrant it, but vegetables, fruits, seeds, nuts, grains, and other foods found in the wild actually make the primary elements of their diet, and most of these can be found a little bit higher in the trees. All 3 of our commensal rodents pose serious and even potentially deadly threats to humans, pets, and domesticated animals. Now, diseases and illnesses like hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, hemorrhagic fever, Lassa fever, leptospirosis, LCM, monkeypox, rat bite fever, salmonellosis, sylvatic typhus, tularemia, borreliosis, tick fever, murine typhus, Lyme disease, plague, ricket cell pox, and several others are carried and directly or indirectly spread by rodents. Besides health threats, rodents pose a serious threat to the economy by contaminating or destroying many products and foods. Aboard ships, in warehouses, in crop fields, within food distribution and preparation facilities, and many other places, rodents find a way to infiltrate and ruin product. About 30% of all annual crop damage is caused by rodents. In addition to this damage also comes the potential to spread many of the diseases we just covered. Now, if these weren't enough, rodents also pose the risk of fires and other structural damages that can pose serious financial burdens and health threats like structure fires. Furthermore, there are many risks which rodents also pose to pets and other domestic animals. All in all, it's best to have a solid plan in place to prevent and eliminate rodents from your property. But how does a person know if they have a rodent problem anyway? Well, it isn't always as easy as simply finding droppings or hearing them at night. Sometimes rodent infestations are well hidden until populations get out of hand. And even in small infestations, though, the risks are still present. Now, I have often heard customers state that they had no idea that they had a rodent infestation in their home until a contractor or someone came out to fix a problem. Maybe in the attic, maybe in the crawl space. But sometimes infestations can go undetected for years and even decades as the feces, the urine, and the damage builds up over time. Now, these situations are dangerous and they need to be dealt with right away. Furthermore, homes and businesses alike should consider an annual inspection to find out whether rodents could be potentially infesting their structure. Rodents can actually squeeze through exceptionally smaller holes than most people are aware. In fact, if they can get their nose through it, chances are they can also get their body through it. This makes their ability to infiltrate and infest homes and businesses very successful. In order to be sure that you don't have a rodent infestation, there are a few signs that you can look for and listen for. Among those signs are scratching noises in the ceilings, under the floors, or in the walls, chew or gnaw marks on furniture or other portions of the structure, fecal droppings or fecal pellets, nests or nesting sites, disappearing pet food or other foods, urine stains or urine pillars, grease rubs or grease markings, damage to food and or damage to food items, funky, unexplained odors, tracks and drag marks from their feet and tail, damage to stored items such as inside closets, inside trunks, or inside the attic, basement, or crawl space, live rodents or dead carcasses, unexpected or unexplained allergies among you or a member of your household, peculiar activity from pets like focusing in on a certain place on the floor or the ceiling or scratching and digging inside as if they're hearing something. Now, all of these are signs that you could look and listen for. But for more information on these signs, I would encourage you to check out our blog entitled How to Know If I Have Mice. Now, if any of these signs are present in your home, office, or other property, you need an inspection right away to determine the level of infestation and the necessary steps that it's going to take to eliminate the infestation. Many people want to try DIY measures for controlling rodents before they resort to calling a pro. Now the question is, what success can you expect from a DIY treatment? And truthfully, this is a rather complicated question to answer. But in a nutshell, it's not terribly difficult to eliminate a few rodents that accidentally wander in. The problem begins when populations are strong, and there's where DIY measures will often fail. Failed DIY methods have potentially serious repercussions. Trap shyness and bait aversion are real problems that pest professionals face from failed DIY rodents on a daily basis. And once this occurs, infestations may take longer to eliminate, cost more resources and time, and can continue to pose the risks that they pose and cause the damages that they cause while these control measures are being made. So it's always best to trust your rodent control to a reputable pest control professional with a proven track record for results. And additionally, a reputable company might offer the option of exclusion measures to help stop rodents from ever entering to infest in the first place. Above all things that a human can do to help avoid rodent infestations and reduce populations and eliminate the risk of disease by contamination, sanitation is number one. Rodents and other pests need three things in order to survive: food, water, and shelter. If even one of these things are present, pests will invade. Limiting pest access to these three things begins with proper sanitation. Nearly every day, pest management professionals enter homes and businesses that have rodent problems caused by poor sanitation. Among the sanitation issues which foster rodent infestations, we often find are improperly stored food and food products, uncleanliness, cluttered conditions, uncut grass, unkept landscaping, improperly stored items, poor building conditions, improper garbage receptacles, piled garbage, poor housekeeping, unmanaged pets, a buildup of pest feces in lawns and yards, free choice pet food spills, unkept fruit and nut trees, and many other things. Now, while some of these may seem trivial, each of these scenarios have been found on a rodent infestation call through the years here at Four Seasons Pest Solutions. Now, keeping your property clean and free of the 3 required things which all pests need to live can not only stop an infestation, but can actually prevent it from ever occurring.
Four Seasons Pest Solutions. Any pest, any season, we're the solution. Any pest, any season, we're the solution. At our family-owned and operated local institution. If you're dealing with an infestation and you want to turn the tide, you got Four Seasons Pest Solutions on your side.